Have you ever implemented an AI tool, expected breakthrough results, and got disappointing results at the end? Here's what most entrepreneurs miss. It's not the AI that AI is broken per se, it's just your data foundation. Most business owners race to automate before they are data ready, and that's one of the things that I want to talk in today's episode. I will show you the exact framework to transform your existing data from scattered spreadsheets to disconnected CRMs into strategic fuel that makes AI actually deliver results. So let me break this down for you. So AI is fundamentally a pattern recognition engine. It learns from your data to predict, to personalize, and to automate. If your data is messy, incomplete, or scattered across the different tools that you use, your AI outputs will equally be confused as well, right? So every tool you already use, your CRM, your website analytics, your email platform, your booking system, holds untapped gold. And most entrepreneurs just haven't mined it yet. And that's so important to start realizing where you're sitting with the data that you have today in your business. But here's where the real leverage happens. Before adding another automation, ask yourself, is my data clean? Is my data current? And is it connected? That single question can save you months of frustrations and thousands of wasted dollars on tools that can't perform without quality data. So the businesses that win with AI aren't the ones that has, the fanciest tools, but per se, they are the ones who master this foundational question first. So before we dive into implementation, because that's what everyone likes to do, go straight to AI implementation, you need to understand where you fit in this data landscape. So most companies don't realize there are distinct roles in data management. So let's talk about this. So there's technical roles and there are management roles. So within the technical roles, we have three types of roles. So we have the data engineers, who are the ones who build the infrastructure and databases. We have the data scientists that create the AI models and test algorithms. And then we have the data analysts, who are the ones who interpret the data and extract business insights. That's kind of my background, by the way. That's what I've done for many, many years back at corporate. But so these three, the data engineers, the data scientists, and the data analysts, these are the technical roles. Now, then we move into the management roles, which are the data strategists, which is the ones that set the vision and the planning. And this is where you come in as a business owner. Then we have the data managers, who are the ones who create the policies and the processes. And then we have the data stewards, who are the ones that ensure quality and operational execution of the data. So those are the three management roles for data. So here, what matters for you as a business owner? Why am I talking about these 6 types of roles with data? You are operating primarily as a data strategist for your business. You are not building databases or coding algorithms. You are setting the vision, creating the plan, and ensuring the data serves your business objectives. That's your goal. That's what you're trying to accomplish. So most small business owners have never even heard of these distinctions, and that's why I wanted to bring those up to you. They just have maybe the IT person or whoever handles the tech staff in their business managing everything, right? Which is exactly why their data is potentially a mess. When you understand these roles and you create proper data governance, you will unlock a strategic advantage comparing yourself with your competitors, right? And there are companies that have spent potentially up to 6 months just on data governance itself, for doing data governance planning, and these businesses have seen about 4 times revenue growth because they finally understood and used their data strategically. Now, that the way this works is like, it's where you fit in all of this. And let's talk about kind of like the actual data assessment framework that I want to kind of bring it up to you in order to understand where you need to start like evaluating your own business and the way you have the data in your business. So your data exists in 3 stages. We have the first stage with stage 1, which is the centralized data, which is data chaos. And in this case, data is siloed across departments. Marketing has their own spreadsheets. Operation uses another system. Sales use a different CRM system for their own data. Nothing talks to each other. So here the focus is reliability and collection of data. Just figure out where everything is. So this is the stage 1, which is the decentralized data all over the place in each different departments. I call that data chaos. Stage 2 is when the data is centralized. So there's some sort of data control here. So data is brought into a single location and or there's a connected system. But for this step, the focus is the governance of the data and the quality. So the focus is to create policies and ensure accuracy of the data. And then the step number 3 is the federated data, which is the data maturity. And this is how data is distributed with connected systems with clear governance. So there's different departments that have access to the data that they need while they're maintaining security of that data, right? So the focus is agility and collaboration, where we're enable smart decision making across the organization because the data is centralized, you can access it, and only the right people has access to the right data. So 95% of small to kind of mid-sized businesses are kind of stuck in stage 1, which is the data chaos. So they don't even know what data they have or where that data lives in their business. So that's why I say that for your first step is you need to map your current state. You need to identify your gaps and create a roadmap to the next stage so you can go to the next stage of the data. So you can use this kind of like simple data readiness map if you maybe answer these 3 questions, and that might help you, these data readiness map questions. You can ask yourself, what data do I have, or what data do you have in your business? And you think about the customer interactions that you have, the sales metrics that you have, the marketing performance, any data that currently you have in your business that you're already capturing. Where does this data live? Where do you have it? Is it in your CRM system? Is it in spreadsheets? Is it in your email? Is it in your analytics platforms, in your booking systems? Where do you have all this data? And then number 3 is, how trustworthy is the data that you have? Do you have duplicates of stuff? Is the data on the contacts outdated? Do you have conflicting information with the data that you have, all those records? That is super important. So again, this data readiness map, it'll give you 3 questions that you can start thinking about. One is, what data do you have? Where does this data live? And how trustworthy is this data? Once you have this map, you've done the kind of like the more strategic data work that most companies may accomplish in years. And this clarity becomes the foundation for everything that follows. So before you rush to buy an AI tool, remember this. The biggest mistake businesses make is automating before they know what they're measuring and why. So I would say to define your data plan first. What are you tracking? where does it come from, and who is responsible for accuracy. Those are kind of like big questions to think through what you have in your business today. Get that right, and AI will become a multiplier in your business. If you skip this and you are just automating chaos, and that is probably not what you want to see in your business. And one more thing, as you implement any of this, keep data privacy front of mind. Turn off, in those data tools, you can turn off the data training in the LLMs, in the large language models, any AI tool actually that you're using. You can choose platforms with proper security certifications. And for those businesses that they have highly sensitive data, consider running AI locally instead of browser based, because that's really give you more security on the data that you are hosting. Okay. Now, privacy isn't just compliance, it's a competitive advantage. And this is important for you to know because businesses, clients will work with you because they know that you have their data secure. So that's why it's a competitive advantage. And of course, it's great for your business. Now, let's move into step 4, which is we want to talk about the data action plan. And that's how we want to turn the data that you have into decisions in your business. All right. So once your data, we know that your data is accurate, it's connected in the right way, it's protected. Now it's time to make it actionable. And this is where most business owners plateau when we get to this point. They collect the data, they generate reports, but nothing changes. So the data action plan has 4 goals that I want you to think through those and identify and see if you can make that happen in your business. The goal number 1 is identify which analytics level your business actually needs. So you don't really need every type of analysis. You just need the right type for the current decisions that you're making today. Because otherwise, that's where people get overwhelmed and you ended up like going in circles and nothing gets done because you're trying to do everything. And maybe wherever you are in your business and the stage that you're in, maybe you just need a few analytics in that whatever your business needs today. The goal number 2 for the data action plan is to bridge the gap between the reporting and the decision logic. So reports will tell you what happened, but the decision logic will tell you so what and what to do about it. And that's so important. And then if we go into the goal number 3, we want to recommend metrics that are aligned with your business needs. So this is very typical where people track vanity metrics. So I would recommend to stop tracking those and start measuring what drives revenue and growth to your business. And then the goal number 4 is to measure the return on investment. You want to track improvements in productivity, in speed, and in accuracy. So if the data work that you do isn't working, improving your outcomes, then you are doing the wrong data work in your business. You want to make sure that you focus the data you're working on is helping you to improve your outcomes in your business. Otherwise, it's a waste of time. So let's break down each component so then you get an idea on how this works. There are 5 types of analytics, and most businesses never get to pass the probably first 2. So let's go one by one. So there's 5. So number 1 is the descriptive analytics. And this one is going to tell you what happened in your business, right? So you have data, you're analyzing your data, and that's descriptive, and it's telling you what happened. So let me give you an example. Like we have, let's say, 1,000 website visitors last month, and then 50 leads, got generated, and you got 10,000 in revenue. And that's it. This is what you have. That's what happened, right? Then we move into the diagnostic analytics, and this is why did it happen? Why did it happen in your business? And the example would be traffic spiked because maybe it was an Instagram campaign that was targeting healthcare professionals in a region, right? So you're looking at the data. So first you have the data. Now you understand the why this happened in the data that you have. So you understand if there's a spike on what kind of promotion, what kind of activity have you done in your business that provided that spike, and then you're kind of analyzing that. Then we move into number 3, which is predictive analytics, which is what's likely to happen next. And that's where, a lot of businesses try to get there, right? So it will be like based on current trends and seasonality, we will hit, I don't know, 1,500 visitors and 75, I don't know, leads in next month, right? So based on past data and the performance that you had, you're predicting what's going to happen next month. Then we have number 4, which is prescriptive analytics, which is what should we do about it? And an example of the what should we do about it will be, let's say, increase Instagram ad spend maybe by 20%, maybe launch a retargeting campaign for website visitors who didn't convert, and maybe create a lead magnet for the top performing content, right? So because you're having different stages with data at different stages, then you are taking different actions and thinking differently in your business and actioning differently based on what the type of data that you analyzing. And then we have the number 5, which is the cognitive or AI-driven analytics. And this one is, what does the data mean in what context? So let's say you have a sentiment analysis that shows customer satisfaction drop like, 15% after the pricing change, right? So there's reviews that mention that there was some sort of value concerns, but the engagement with premium features increased, and that could be suggesting positioning issue, not price issue. So you're kind of looking at the sentiment analysis, the behavior, the customer behavior, and what is happening there. So your role as the strategy is not to try to do everything. You kind of want to match your analytics level to your actual decision-making needs. So if you're trying to understand what's happening and why, maybe the descriptive and the diagnostic analytics are enough. You just don't need to go to predictive AI models. So there's different levels that you should be thinking through depending on where you're at today in your business. But here's the key. Analytics isn't just measuring performance, it's guiding action. And that's what we want the analytics. That's what we want to have the data, look at the data, understand it, and then use it as a guide to start making decisions that make sense for your business. So the question isn't what can we measure, it's what should we measure to drive better decisions in our business, right? Because you can measure a lot of things, but what do you really need to focus on today in your business? What kind of metrics you should be looking at in order to make decisions based on where you're at today? Now, let's talk about, or let me give you kind of like a truth about what happens with most business owners and those that use dashboards and have data in front of them, right? There's some business owners that they use vanity metrics that can make you feel busy that you are doing work, but it's not really driving results. And when I say vanity metrics, it's kind of impressive but not actionable. And that's where I want to go with that. So vanity metrics are, for example, the number of followers or the likes that you have, the website visits without the conversion context. So just having people in your coming to your website, but there's no conversion rates there. The total email sent, the total revenue, but without looking at the margin or the recurring revenue context. An AI tool usage count, just because you're using AI doesn't mean it's working, right? So because you're using the tool and you're doing things, that doesn't mean that this is really giving you what you're supposed to be tracking. So Let's go into goal-aligned metrics, which is actually what is driving the decisions in your business. That's what you want to focus on. You want to focus not on the vanity metrics, which is impressive but not actionable. You want to look into the goal-aligned metrics, which are the ones that drive decisions. So you want to look at metrics like the number of leads generated or the conversion rate. You want to look at the average time on key pages, on your website or funnels, the form submissions that you have if you have a funnel, the email open rate or the click-through rate. You want to look at the profit margin or the recurring revenue. You want to look at the time saved or the error reduced or the return on investment improvement from an AI implementation. Those are the metrics that you want to see the before and after and how this is driving revenue for your business. Or efficiency. It doesn't have to be just revenue. It could be time save. It could be many things. But the efficiency is already not just a number that is not giving you a return, right? So let me give you an example. Let's say we have this business owner who was tracking a total of Instagram followers, and that person had 15,000 followers. And the person, that business owner, felt really successful for having 15,000 followers, right? When the business owner switched to a goal-aligned metric, they recognized that only 200 of the 15,000 followers ever were really engaged, and only 12 had become clients in the past 2 years, right? So the right way to pivot this kind of like data that you already have is from chasing the follower count in a social media account to start tracking maybe the DM conversations that you have, the discovery calls, bookings that they get in your calendar, the client acquisition cost. And that's where those are the metrics that really will drive the needle on all the activity, the marketing and the visibility activity that you're doing, right? Otherwise, just having the followers is not going to do anything. So you can see if you track, if you look at things differently, you can see maybe in 90 days, you might notice that maybe you have less followers, but the ones that they're following are maybe 3 times more qualified leads, and you're maybe doubling the close rates because you have more quality leads based on the activities that you're making in your business. So the shift is to stop measuring activity and to start measuring outcomes. And when we're talking outcomes, it's about revenue. It's about growing your business. That's the important part here. And then we want to talk about visualization and communicating data clearly, because that's another big point. Data means nothing if people can understand what you're saying at a glance. And this is where data visualization becomes your strategic advantage here. There are 5 main types of data visualization that you can leverage for you and your team if you have a team, but even if it's just for you. So you can leverage dashboards. These are better for ongoing monitoring KPIs. Again, the key KPIs that they're best for what you need at this point. And you can use tools like Power BI, Tableau, Looker, Soho Analytics. There's different dashboards tools that you can leverage to do that. You can do a real-time tracking of, let's say, a sales pipeline, marketing performance, operations metrics, having that going, an ongoing monitoring of these KPIs. The second visualization, it could be charts or graphs, because it's easier just to look at a graph to see if it's going up, if it's flat, it's going down. That's kind of like gives you the trends, and then you can see really easier than just looking at the numbers in a spreadsheet. So these charts or these graphs are best for trends, for comparisons, for proportions, so you kind of get a sense. And again, if you do bar charts or line graph or pie or scatter plots, whatever graph you like, it doesn't matter. The point is put it in a way where you understand what you're looking at or your team and reading it, and then take action based on that data that you're looking at. So you are showcasing maybe month over month growth or comparing campaigns, the campaign performance or visualizing budget allocation, whatever it is that helps your business understand where you're spending or whatever you're doing. It's like looking at these data visualizations will give you more clarity where you're at. The third one is maps or the geo visuals, which is best for location-based analysis. So if you want to do like heat maps or regional performance maps, that really helps the teams with that. So this is more understanding where customers are located or the regional sales performance or the service area coverage. Again, depends on the business and what helps you visualize to make decisions. There's other ones like storyboards or slides. This is mostly best for executive summaries. So you can use Google Slides, Canva. Those are kind of like great tools. And these are most likely used for board presentations, client reports, strategic planning sessions. That's when you will use those data visualization elements. And then we have the interactive reports, which are best for more kind of like data exploration. And again, you will use Power BI, Tableau, kind of like interactive tools that can help you demonstrate that data and update that data. And this will allow the team members to filter, to drill down and explore data independently, because they can kind of so the data is in the system, it's in a dashboard, but then you can filter the data in a way that can customize it the way you need it based on a region or whatever you are exploring within your business. So the point here is to convert complex data into visual stories that people can grasp instantly. Your simplest visual will answer or should answer like or drive business decisions. This is basic. So your simplest visual answer should drive business decisions. And not just look pretty, because you can spend time, again, looking busy, putting dashboards together. But the point is to make decisions based on the data that you have in your business. And then we want to talk about to make everything that I spoke to today, make it actionable. And what will be your implementation steps? So here's how you turn this framework that I talked to you into reality, and do it this week so you don't forget. So if you start like kind of implementing right away, that'll make you feel more productive, and not feel like be more productive because you're taking action on the right things. So the first action that you should be doing this week is audit your current metrics, list every metric you currently track, and honestly ask, does this drive a decision, or does just make you feel busy? So hopefully you're tracking metrics, but if you're done, then you should. But if you're tracking, is this metric that you're tracking, does it drive a decision or does it make me feel busy? So, and I will cut those vanity metrics that we talked earlier, keep only what matters. Your action number 2 should be choose your analytics level. So based on where your business is right now, pick one level of analytics to focus on. If you're just getting started, maybe you just do the scripted analytics, which is what happened. So you look at what happened in the past based on the data that you have from your business. Have basic data. If you have basic data, then you would do a diagnostic. And this is why did it happen, right? So you're doing a diagnostic if you have some basic data. If you are in a situation where you're ready to scale, then you would do predictive analytics, which is what's next. or prescriptive analytics, which is what should we do? So again, if you're getting started, you want to do descriptive analytics, and this is looking at what happened. If you have some basic data in your business, you want to do diagnostic analytics, and you would try to understand why did it happen. And then if you are ready to scale, you want to look into predictive analytics. So you're going to start thinking what's next, and then the prescriptive analytics and what should we do. So don't skip these levels because you need to be implementing based on where you're at today in your business. The best way is to master each one first and then keep going up in all these levels. So then pick your visualization method, whatever makes sense for you and whatever you feel more comfortable. The simplest way, pick of the simplest way that you can communicate your most important metrics. Do you need maybe a weekly dashboard? Maybe you can create it in Google Sheets or do a simple BI tool. Do you need maybe a monthly executive summaries? Maybe you can use Canva or Google Slides. Do you need real-time monitoring? Then maybe invest in Power BI or Tableau. Again, that's more for advanced. It all depends where you're at in your business. But this is where it's going to help you get understanding where your business is at, not just you, your team, and also make better decisions. So start simple. A clear spreadsheet beats a fancy dashboard nobody understands. So you can also use spreadsheets and create graphs from a spreadsheet. But there's a way that if you visualize your data, if you put it in visuals, it's easier to see the big picture and to help you understand what to do next. Action 4 will be to tie everything into a return on investment. So for each metric you track, you answer, how does improving this number will impact the revenue, or will impact reducing costs, or will impact to save time? That's the point about looking at the metrics from a revenue standpoint to reducing costs or to saving time. If you can't answer that clearly, then that means it's not worth tracking. When you show return on investment, everyone in your organization becomes eager to invest in better data practices because they understand it now. And data becomes a strategic asset, not an IT burden that people get so back down with it. So remember, AI amplifies your strategy. If your data strategy is clear, AI becomes transformative. But if your data is chaos, AI just automates that mess faster. So let's quickly recap what I just explained to you and this framework. Step 1, you want to understand that data drives every AI result. No quality data equals no quality outcomes. Step 2, know your role in the data ecosystem. You are the strategist and the planner for your business. Step number 3, assess your data that currently lives using this 3-stage framework that I share. And then the step number 4 is execute your data action plan. And that will be choose the right analytics level, measure what matters, visualize clearly, and tie everything to the return on investment. So the bottom line is AI can't fix bad data, but strategic data management can transform a business. So what's next for you? What's your next move? What do you think that you're going to do next? So hopefully you get a point, you got better understanding on the importance of data management, the importance to having data in your business, and the importance to have the right data in your business. Now, I really, really want you to think about what's going to be your next move now that you have all this information. So, and if today's episode sparked ideas, hit a like, subscribe to my channel. I share weekly frameworks to help you grow smarter and scale faster with AI strategy. Now, if you want to go deeper, I have an AI data readiness workshop that I designed for businesses to help them master that data strategy and position AI implementation for actual return on investment. So if you need further help with this, feel free to reach out. And you can go straight to my website at marianadalto.com. We will build your custom roadmap so you can confidently transform your data chaos into strategic clarity and unlock the full potential of AI in your business. And remember, AI amplifies what you give it. If you feed it chaos, you will get chaos. If you feed it strategy, you will get transformation. So pick one idea from today's episode, apply it this week. Momentum beats perfection. And thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you next time.